Now, one of the big things we see all these 1% golfers here, the best players in the world possess, moving through the golf ball, and that is how they're moving their right shoulder. And this is something we see 99% of amateurs do completely wrong. And this is also taught quite wrong as well. So as soon as we change this right shoulder move to the 1% move, you're going to immediately compress the golf ball better. You're going to rotate through the golf ball and you're going to have much easier distance. So the difference between the 99% and the 1% of golfers with that right shoulder is the timing in which they drop the right shoulder down. So what we see so many amateur golfers do is they'll be starting their downswing and really thinking, okay, I want to drive that right shoulder down. That shallows the shaft, that gets me swinging on the inside, and it's a nice power move. But look what happens when I do that. So driving the right shoulder down as soon as I start that downswing, and off that ball goes towards the left. So I could do that here all day long, drop that right shoulder down, and I doubt I would get one that goes pretty straight again there. Drop that right shoulder down. That one, it didn't decide to pick up. Maybe I hit it too quickly. But again, right shoulder down as soon as I start that downswing, and that ball is just going to immediately pop out towards the left like we can see. Now, it can also make players hit huge out towards the right. It depends how you time going through the golf ball from there. But that's a big word. It creates a ton of timing. So why that's the case and why this isn't efficient to move this straight away down? Because number one, like we said, it gets that club shaft moving shallow, which shallow shaft is good, but you can't use that shallow shaft from there. If you get that right shoulder down too early, the club really almost gets stuck behind there. And to neutralize a shallow shaft, you have to rotate through the golf ball. But if you get that right shoulder moving down too early, it tilts the upper body back behind the lower body. Now, this is a really stressful place for that spine to be able to function from. So you're not going to be able to move through that golf ball. You're going to just stall out your rotation and flip through. So you're going to have an incredibly tough time managing your club path and club face. And also, if you move that right shoulder down, you're going to get closer to the ground. So if I move that right shoulder down excessively early, that swing arc is going to plummet into the ground, and I could either chunk it, or if I'm going to make that work, the left arm would have to bend and chicken wing coming through that golf ball to pull the club out the ground again. So you're really going to have tons and tons of different timing issues related to dropping the right shoulder down. But what do the 1% do? So the 1% absolutely still move their right shoulder down, but they do it later. They do it going through the golf ball. So you'll see so many top tour players, as they're moving down, the right shoulder stays relatively high. And then as they start to get down into the impact area, so from shaft parallel to the ground into the ball, that's when their right shoulder drops down. And look at here, Tommy Fleetwood is a really good example of it. And Tommy Fleetwood actually has quite a bit more right shoulder drop than a lot of other golfers, but he still doesn't do it in that start of his downswing. He does it going through the golf ball, because when we get that right shoulder dropping down going through the golf ball, we can see it keeps the club path really nice going through there. Because if that right shoulder doesn't drop down, for example, you're just going to diverge the club on the out. So it gets the club staying on path going through the golf ball. Look what it's doing to my body. See how it's rotating my body, which means it's keeping the club under nice control with the club face. My lead arm doesn't have to break down because my swing arc is being maintained. Loads of really good things. Keeps the right arm really nice and bent, which we see loads of the top tour players do. So we want to learn to keep and get this right shoulder moving down, going through the golf ball. And I'm going to show you a drill and a good feel to be able to do this. It's really, really key to getting you to strike that golf ball really nice and really straight. So I'm going to show you a drill to do on the driving range or indoor facility like tee to green in Scotland, just like here. And I'm going to show you a good feel for the golf course. So let's get straight to it. So the drill, really, really good one. This gets you into an impact position and then you move from there. So if you grab your club, this is a good one even just to feel it. And then as we want to move ourselves into what our setup position is going to be, because our club's on our side here, we want that club head to be right on top of the golf ball. And then we put the club behind the golf ball and grip it from there. So you're going to see, if I show you from this angle, we've got the club on our side. And then I turn to where I get that club on top of the ball. My right shoulders move down at the right time just naturally from there. So I'll get the feeling, the body sensation. Because if I move my right shoulder down too early, I can't get that club head over on top of the ball. So even just doing this alone, even if you're stuck indoors, maybe it's really everything's covered in snow. You can do this, or maybe the weather's bad, who knows? Maybe it's raining like here in Scotland it does all the time. So you're gonna see that trains this movement really, really nicely. So we do that. If we can hit balls at the same time, which is great, we put the club behind the ball and then we swing back and spring through, just a little half swing, and that's gonna get you to where that right shoulder really times up at the nice point. So nice little soft bush draw there. So this is something that's absolutely awesome. This drill helps you in loads of different ways. I've recently made a video on this. So this will help golfers who swing a little bit over the top, because when you get that club on your side, put yourself to the golf ball, you will notice how your hips are going to be open, so rotated, your chest is going to be rotated, but not quite as much as your hips, which encourages good downswing sequencing. If we have the hips leading and the chest passive, that will then keep the club on path. So guys who swing over the top, they move their upper body and their lower body rotationally at the same time. So if we look here, club path, definitely for that little one, 5.5, and then we're 3.5 with a club face. So our club path is a little bit more right of that club face. Club face is a touch more left, which is what created that little push draw from there. So that's where really, really key, gives you some lovely looking ball flights when you do this. So it just teaches you instinctively, without even having to think of it, to get the timing. Because when you're just springing back again, you're not just going to drop that shoulder down. It will teach you to do it. And then ultimately, if we just get the reps in, doing some nice half swings doing this drill, we're going to nicely get that, hit that a little bit toey. So again, this is a drill. You are going to hit some, undesirable shots at times. We're not all robots, of course, even me, a pro, I'm not a robot. So that's where when you're doing this drill, it doesn't only just target this right shoulder being down, targets loads of things. And if a drill's hard to do, that means the drill's really worthwhile. So for me, in that one a little bit toey, what did that tell me? That told me I didn't rotate my chest enough going through the golf ball. Club then got too close to my body. There we go. Then we respond straight away, get a nice one down there. But I love this because it gets that right shoulder moving instinctively. Right, okay, our feel for the golf course. So a really good feel to get this nice 1% shoulder move in here is ultimately one that Justin Rose talks about quite often. And that is feeling like he's hitting the ball with his right shoulder. So that gets a good few things into your golf swing, because he's not just dropping it down. That can get you having that right shoulder dropping down too much behind the 99%, which we don't want, but he's trying to feel like he's hitting the ball with that right shoulder. So that gets it lowering as we get to that impact area, but it also keeps the right shoulder moving through the golf ball. We don't want it moving away from the target. We want it moving through. So what this does, of course, this gives you the right side bend at the right time. So even though you'll be feeling like the right shoulder is hitting the ball, you're not actually going to be getting ahead of the golf ball, because that right side bend created for this keeps that upper body back whilst everything else shifts. So lovely, really, really good one. Justin Rose even says at times he's feeling like his right ear gets closer to the golf ball, gets through it. Again, anything with that right shoulder, I sometimes like the feel of the right shoulder staying ahead of the club head. It all keeps you doing the exact same thing. But thinking right shoulder through the ball rather than right shoulder dropping down on top of it. It's a really good one on the course. So you could do your pre-shot routine, club on your side, and a couple little feels there. Lovely. And then go into it and absolutely think, okay, right shoulder through that golf ball. Lovely, that should be a nice little push draw again down there. Brilliant. Right on our target. So you can imagine if you were doing a ton at the driving range, working on this, awesome. That would be great. And then once you get out to the golf course, having a feel that you can draw on, that gets you into position is great. And I'd recommend absolutely, whether it's in your pre-shot routine, club on your side, or just feeling like right shoulder going through, I'd recommend when players do that, it's always good to feel the club face and club head and shaft as well. So right shoulder going through, and just having that club head feel like it's just staying a little bit back as you do so, keeping the shaft nice and shallow. But okay, right shoulder through that golf ball. Okay. Just gets you as close as you can on the golf course until you got the reps in to ingrain it into the subconscious. Lovely. Again, nice little push draw. Absolutely perfect. So again, why we're wanting to do this, and it's so crucial, is because it keeps everything moving nicely going through the golf ball. It keeps you rotating. It keeps the club moving in good path. It keeps the club face under control when we drop the right shoulder as we're approaching that impact area. If we do it too early, club shaft dumps under, upper body really falls behind. We might have to break down the left arm to pull the club in. There's so many timing elements. That's why we can't do it that way. Yes, it might get the shaft shallow, might get it moving from the inside, but you won't benefit from good golf from that at all. You have to do it later like we see all the top pros. Keep your tilt, in essence, is what this is. So, if you enjoyed this video, click that like button if you want more golf instruction, just like this. Hit the subscribe button and hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.